All right, ladies and gentlemen, Deadman's Tome podcast with your host, Mr. Deadman, and joining here with us tonight is Lia Scott Price. How's it going?
Hello. Good. Going good. How are you?
I'm glad to hear. Oh, things are good on my end as well. Can't complain. Happy wife, happy life, right?
That's right.
Oh, yeah, man. So, and I like how people who listen to prior episodes would be like, man, I'm surprised he didn't butcher her name. But it's a 3-letter name. It's very easy to not butcher. And I was like, I even asked her in the beginning. I was like, okay, what is it? How do I pronounce it just to make sure? Is it Lia? Because Lia, I might butcher it on purpose. You know.
I've been called Lisa, Leanne, Lydia, whatever.
I think on the show notes on my WordPad or whatever, I did put Lisa because I would have put an S there, but I'm like, wait, no, it's Lia. It's not Lisa.
It's very tempting to put the S.
But you're no
Everybody
Lisa.
Thinks it's like it needs an S. I don't know.
No, it don't. Lia's just fine. Lia Scott Price. All right. Well, quick announcement real fast. There's a new issue out from Deadman's Tome, The Ancient Ones 2. It is pretty much a follow-up of The Ancient Ones, which is the most popular, or the more high-performing, top-performing issue from Deadman's Tome. It's Lovecraftian themed. You have your Cthulhu, you have your mythos, your popular things, the dark dread,
right.
that sort of
darkness.
horror.
Yes.
Oh yeah. So it's available on Amazon. You can get it paperback or also on Kindle. So check that out.
Nice.
Anything
post it on my wall too on Facebook if you want.
Oh, thanks. You know what I was gonna say too is since I'm plugging something in the beginning, I'll give you the opportunity to do one now if you have something you want to plug.
Well, basically my webcomic, which I've been working on, I kind of moved from paperback to digital. So it's at Patreon. For those who are familiar with that platform, it's patreon.com/Lia Scott Price.
Mm-hmm. That's great. And what do you get? What do you get if you become a patron?
You get some really cool stickers and my undying gratitude.
And that's nice.
Yeah. And also not getting killed by my vampires. Yeah. But yeah, you get some really cool stickers. So
you mean if since I'm not a patron, I can probably get killed at any time by a vampire? That's crazy.
Yeah, it's mostly, I mean, if you like my work, you want to follow it, you want to follow the story, and for those who know my comic books, I've actually moved from hiring artists to doing my own work. So you actually get to see my art in progress, which is really, gory, bloody, pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. And that's what we're going to get into pretty much right now. I mean, what else can I say? Tell me about what Vampire Guardian Angels. That's your comic book series, right?
Yes.
Okay, so how did that get started?
This is a story I always tell, which I was in church one time, and the priest was talking about how, I went to church at one point, about how guardian angels were always there to protect you and save you, and for some reason my mind went, really? And that night I went home and I was just like, let's fuck this up. So, and that's where it went to. So it was like a what if game that I kept playing, which was, what if they were this, what if they were that? Okay, werewolves won't work. Oh, vampires will.
Ooh, so yeah.
It kind of went through that. So basically I was trying to create this new breed where they were the hybrid of an angel and a serial killer. So
okay.
They can only respond to prayers that are desperate, or to people who are suicidal, who are, depressed, all that stuff. If they pray specifically to a guardian angel, then they come, and that's how they find their food. The prayers act as like a beacon, which is so cool. It's like, I wrote it started out as a novel at first, and I wrote this entire novel in 9 weeks.
9 weeks.
Yeah, 9 weeks.
Wait. How many pages? Like, how big is this novel?
it wasn't very. It was maybe about 70 pages.
Oh,
Probably.
okay.
It was pretty fast. It was pretty fast moving book, and at the time I was into X-Files and all that stuff. So it was like a really big dark influence when I was writing it. Except it was, of course, filled with vampires, and I was very drunk on Bacardi. But it worked.
Okay.
For some reason, it worked beautifully.
Hey, I can see that. Hey, in fact, there was a video I was going to put up earlier this week. Well, I'll put it up next week about writing under the influence. Like that would have been so relevant here because some of my best writing. Well, I mean, you produce a novel on Bacardi. I mean, I produced grad papers on whiskey and beer.
Yep. It's funny how you actually, people tend to write, like I tend to write if I'm at the lowest point in my life.
Oh, yeah,
like
that's
I
true.
Write if I'm like super happy, otherwise I start writing about puppies and kittens, which isn't my style. So, I mean, that's how I produce the entire series.
What's interesting? Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I was gonna say what's interesting about that too is I'm familiar with some psychological studies that try to show the opposite, that like people are more creative like when they're optimistic, or like when they're not depressed, when they're not like I guess, and then those studies are looking at like clinical depression, and they're looking at like serious episodes, but at the same time though, a lot of the art that we consume, a lot of it comes from a very dark place.
It's therapy. It's therapy. It's a way of coping. It's a way of it's a release. So that's
so
how
true.
I saw it.
That is so true. I mean, it really is. And I don't care what you do. Like, and for those listening, if you write, if you're an artist, if you paint, and maybe you write and draw, paint, or play music only for you. But if it's something, it's your release, don't ever give that up, man. Don't ever give that up.
Right.
So what if you're not making $1 off it? Just don't give that up.
Yeah, you're doing it for you, not for anyone else.
I mean, trust me, you going through that process is a lot better than having to depend on like but Xanax or whatever pills,
Oh, don't ever go on antidepressants. Oh my God, they're the worst.
Oh yeah.
I'm going through a
Zoloft
withdrawal that is just hell.
Mm-hmm. They can mess you up.
Yeah, it does. Does give you some awesome dreams though, so I've been writing those down.
See that I don't know. I mean, I never experimented with them, but I had produced a novel under a lot of absinthe.
Ooh.
that was a interesting one.
I've tried that once. Never again.
Yeah, it was such a weird drink. First of all, it's even difficult to drink because it's like, this is not tasty at all. Like, my body wants to reject this, but anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I mean, the third, I've written a vampire trilogy novel. So the first one was on Bacardi. The second one was a trip to New York that just blew my mind. So it's like, I need to make this the setting. And the third one was done off of dreams.
Ooh, nice.
And the whole entire novel was done off of dreams. And I'm just like, this is awesome. I mean, it's funny how people seem to neglect that creative part. It's just a dream, but no, it's usually your mind coming up with all these intense ideas and settings. And every time, I wake up, I'm like scribbling. Sometimes I can't read my scribbles. They're like, what the hell did I write? So,
I'm the same way in that part. I mean, because my handwriting is absolutely horrible. But I just like that about dreams, especially the more vivid ones, and trying to remember, recall, and chase them. That experience is to me, it's very rewarding. And to not do it seems like almost like injustice. Like I feel like it's like, oh, I could, I guess, look look into what the stream meant or try to use it in some way, or I could just let it go to waste and it's gone forever.
And if you add vampires, it's even more awesome.
Yeah. So remind me again, how old were you when you decided, you know what, guardian angels aren't guardian angels, they're guardian vampire? How old were you again?
I was probably, that was in 2001 when I first came up with the ideas.
Mm.
And maybe 1999, 2000. I mean, I'm 50 now, so okay. And it's probably like, and no, I'm not afraid to say my age. I'm proud of it, but it was almost 30 years ago.
Oh, okay.
You know, I was going through a very, very bad time, a very bad marriage, and it was kind of like my release. I was like, I'm going to write this thing. And that was the reason I was going to church, was trying to find, spirituality. And instead I found this. This was just like, it just blew my mind.
You know what, though? That happens. I know you laugh about it, but you're brave enough to talk about it here. I respect that. Yeah. I respect that. And a lot of people, they turn to faith, they turn to church, Jesus, what have you, for those things. And maybe they don't find it that way. They find it in some other way.
Right.
They listen to the stuff and they're just like, I don't know, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but this does, and it's your thing. It works for you,
right?
And so, wow.
And it was really interesting because after I wrote the book, and after I actually showed it to the priests and nuns, because they're wondering, why am I sitting there in the church, in the choir, just scribbling. Sometimes I had to scribble like ideas. They bought the books and they're like, "Oh my God, this is awesome!" It's like, I was blown away. They actually liked it. I'm like, "You're not offended?" They go, "Hell no."
Yeah, you'd be surprised by that. And I want to ask you, so vampires, okay? So I have to, of course, there's probably some people listening going, vampires, really? Like vampires? I'm so exhausted on vampires. Vampires this, vampires that. But with that in mind, I mean, what drew you into the vampire myth? What really pulled you into that?
First of all, none of the Twilight sparkly shit, and none of the teenage angst. None of that is in the books. What really drew me in were the B-movie vampires, the Hammer films.
Oh, okay. Cool.
The Peter Cushing ones, the Legend of the Seven Golden Vampires, which is my absolute favorite. So it's almost like I made it a mission to bring it back, because vampires really should be vicious. They should be scary. They shouldn't be sparkly.
You mean they shouldn't sparkle and glitter at all? I mean, that's not cool.
No. So, I mean, I wanted vampires to be scary and brutal again. And that was kind of the mission of the novel and the comic books. So I tried to make it as bloody and as disturbing as I could. And not only that, I was trying to mix it with the angels, who are basically good, and they protect you and all that stuff. But what if you turned it around and made them do the bad things that society doesn't even expect them to do? Like kill or maim or hurt. And so I kind of combined that. Okay, let's bring back the bloody vampires and let's make angels bad. And
that's interesting. I like that. I like that blend.
Characters.
So you have the bad boy vampires.
Yes.
The traditional type, not the glittery, sparkly. Right. Like, I'm a vampire. I don't know.
Oh God. And I started out with the novels, and I moved into the films. So I would take scenes from each novel and try to, bring them to life. And using some of my actor friends back then, we were all in an acting class, and trying to, fill it with prop blood and slashing and killing and and all this fun stuff. And then with the comic books, which I actually like better than the films now, I was, I've had instructors who were in DC and other, Marvel and stuff, and their influences. So my drawing influence is pretty much that way. You know, it's not the wimpy vampire. It's more like the like the buff, like really, you know, almost superhero comic book style.
And that's cool. I dig that.
Yeah.
I definitely enjoy that over the modern or the Twilight stuff. That I can't stand. And I think that might be why some people kind of have a bad taste about vampires. It's like they're thinking, oh wait, you mean like the Twilight ones? You mean like they're just, I don't know. And even like,
it's like no.
It's sometimes to think about some in between ones that, so like the underworld vampires, like,
oh, that's perfect. Yeah, that I like. You know, that's kind of I just want to say they don't sparkle like.
yes, they don't
like
sparkle,
the
which is a plus.
Yeah, I like the action vampire films such as that, and you know, so that's kind of cool to me. The Van Helsing ones are cool too.
Yep, very good, very good. And I like that he blended in with the angels being bad. That kind of reminds me of kind of the whole like who watches the Watchmen, like that sort of concept. So you have like these guardian angels, or and they too kind of get in the dirt, the grime. I like that. Does that stem?
The dark side.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that. Does that stem from anything, or?
It stems from a lot of things. I'm the type who, if I'm going through something, it'll be a little bit of what I'm going through will be in the pages somehow. Or if I'm particularly stressed and I met someone I don't like road rage on the freeway, yeah, I'll throw them in. And just have like a vampire rip them up. I don't know. It's kind of like a stress release.
Be like,
but
you
know what I mean? It's
yeah. You mean like the fucker who cut you off in traffic? Guess what?
Exactly.
You're gonna be in my comic. You're gonna get beheaded.
Right. The one thing I love doing though is putting in my friends who are in death metal and black metal bands. So I usually just throw them in just for fun and to promote them if they want.
Hey, that works both ways.
You know, I them as vampires. It's really cool.
Hey, that works, and hey, that's something that they would dig definitely. So, do you know any? So the bands that you're talking about, or are they bands that maybe I would know, or that maybe someone listening would know?
They're local bands.
Okay.
Yeah, but some of them are moving up there. Like I have a band that's thrash metal. They're called Madras, and they're already on Pandora, which I'm like, yes.
That's awesome. A step up, yeah.
Yeah. Look them up because they'll keep you awake in the morning when you're driving somewhere.
I would definitely do that. I'll look them up after the show, actually. I try to, after the show, kind of take a little relaxed break on the back patio, to have a beer, maybe smoke a cigar and listen to something, and I might do that. So,
cool.
Well, man, there's so much more to go into here. So, because I'm still on the Vampire Guardian Angels. I mean, that's a huge thing. And oh man, let me just ask this question now, since we're on the whole like, oh, I don't know,
right?
Vampires or this or that, and I don't know if I liked them. Okay, what does Vampire Guardian Angels offer to those that might feel that exhaustion? Maybe feel like, oh man.
Like they're tired of vampires and stuff?
Yeah, like they're just tired of vampires.
It offers a brand new breed. I mean, this is a hybrid you haven't even seen before. That you've never, I mean, I haven't seen it anywhere. It's already copyrighted and trademarked, that's why. And it offers like more kind of a brutality. Like they're human, they used to be human, but now they're kind of free to like do whatever the hell they want. I mean, this is not safe for work kind of comic series. So, you know, there's everything in there. There's sex, there's violence, there's erotica, there's bondage. And I'm not saying that should be the drawing factor, but it's more like, how far can I push these characters?
Mm-hmm.
And no one there who's good. There's no one there who's bad. Not all bad. They're kind of, they could change at any point. I'm a character. I'm one of the main characters in the comic book. And oh boy, I put myself in the comic. So and my character is always evolving. It could be, she could be good at one time, she could be weak at some point, at another point she could be strong, she could be a badass, she also could be evil. So it's kind of like, it's so unexpected, and this is what I like about the series. It's always ever evolving psychologically, and just scary. I just want it to be scary, and I've actually had people, message me and saying, "Okay, yeah, it is scary."
Hey, and that's a good response.
We don't even want to read it, and it's perfect. My comics were at a comic book shop called Meltdown Comics in Sunset Boulevard in LA. And I remember sitting there waiting for a drawing class, and I had my comic books. They carried it. And a couple of people walked up to and picked up the book and put it down. They go, "Oh, no, this is too scary." I'm like, yes.
Ooh, that's also another good response.
Yeah, that's exactly the kind of response I'm aiming for. It has to be disturbing. Mm-hmm. I put a lot of elements in there that are really disturbing. You come in, angels, they shouldn't do this to humans. They shouldn't do this to people. Well, they do now.
Well, yeah.
So that's what
we're talking about a concept, guardian angel, something that like supposed to, protect you from what and how, like how is it supposed to protect you without it intervening in some sort of way that could be violent or it could hurt someone? Because like I could see how the concept of guardian angel could quickly turn bloody and almost biased. Of course, it would be biased. They're supposed to guard you, right?
Right.
So there's a huge problem with it. It's like, wait, unless they're sitting on the sidelines, like unless they're sitting on the sidelines, like parents at a little league game, like just yelling at each other, like, no, that guy did this. No, I'm looking after Bobby Lee. He didn't do that. No, your person did this to them. Oh no, screw that. I could just see that. Exactly. But you're talking about they're actually going in and intervening if they pray hard enough, whatever. So that I could. Whew. Yeah.
Well, the concept is and this is actually very, the opposite. It's like I turn what's normal into something, abnormal. And it was more in an X-Files way that I wrote the first novel, where, fine, you have a guardian angel and he's sick and really tired of listening to people's prayers, because if you think about it, you're a therapist. You're a guardian angel. You become a therapist. You're listening to hundreds of prayers a day. And at some point, you're going to go, what the fuck? Why can't these people just help themselves? And in the series, I have one character who's going absolutely crazy from it. All he wants to do is get rid of the voices. Because even though they have turned into vampires, they can still hear the prayers. Because at one point, it's like, okay, yes, I need the prayers in order to track down my food. On the other hand, it's driving me insane. I can't turn it off. It's like I want to kill all the humans, but damn it, I have to eat them too.
Yeah.
I can't cut off my food supply.
Need around for food, at least. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's more of a why can't humans help themselves? And at some point, why am I the one that God assigned to take care of them? What about me?
Okay, gotcha.
Why can't
I
get
okay. Wait a second. So going back to that kind of rough metaphor there with the parents at a little league game. This would be like if a kid is like crying and complaining too much, performing so badly, the parents just go in there and grab that kid, spank him up a few times, slap him around, make him play better. Little Timmy, learn how to catch a freaking ball. Right. I don't know. That's cool. Well, I can see that.
Yeah. At some point, you become a mercy killer. You're like, okay, you want to die, you want an end to your suffering, I'll do it for you.
Yeah.
And
look at that.
In the first novel, it's more like, the guy, my main character named Gabriel, is very subtle about it. He's a hypnotist, so he makes people just commit suicide, kill themselves, And I try to make it where everybody, like if you read like the news and you see someone in an accident or jumped off a cliff, that's actually a guardian angel who prompted them to do it.
Ah,
so
that's
it was
interesting.
So
if someone hung themselves, that's actually
Yeah.
a guardian angel doing it too, huh?
Yeah, they're saying, yeah, go ahead, do it, because I'm sick of this. If you want to
wow.
die, you want to die.
Look at that.
So it was that's what's the fucked up element about horror. You write something and you explore, you push it, you write what if they did this, what if they did that. And that's the whole premise behind scary films, psychological films.
So
it may be disturbing to others, but you need that in order to create the story.
So based on this, Kurt Cobain, that could have been a guardian angel?
I'm not touching that.
No.
But you kind of see what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the whole, it's almost like an X-Files exploration. Like there's this other good angel who's chasing him around named Cameron, and he's trying to, catch him, and Cameron's a cop. He's trying to catch Gabriel. And in issue, let's say I turned him evil in issue 7.
Okay.
So he kind of joined the I'm sick of this, he's saving humans parade.
And I will say something though. Like I used to work at a psych facility, so I'm speaking from experience here that no, I haven't seen anyone actually go through the act completely kill themselves, but usually when they're kind of in that moment or have those episodes where they want to, they claim to be hearing stuff. They claim to be drawn by something, and it's almost like, man, I've seen some weird stuff to make you go, what? Like people just writing journals full of stuff, like in a spiral form, and doing weird things at night, like.
Right.
Oh my god! Like pacing around the room, talking to themselves. Like, oh man. Okay.
Well, if you think about it, what is a guardian angel? No one's ever seen one. No one's ever, met one. I mean, even though you claim to have met one,
but I went to this bar one time. There was a guy dressed up as an angel, and I don't know.
But you know what I mean. The only image you have of one is in pop culture.
Yeah.
So in a sense, in my books, they could be anything. They could be anyone. What you're doing is summoning something. You have no idea what it is. So the concept, I guess the lesson behind the books is you summon something. You better darn well know what it is, because it could be a vampire.
Could be. Imagine if the angels in the outfield were vampires. I don't know.
Right.
Those kids would have a horrible time.
So basically, you take something ordinary and you fuck it up. That's how I write.
All right, well,
it's like
sense.
a Stephen King thing.
Hey, that works. And
I love Stephen King.
So when you started this, was it just a solo project? Was it always just you?
Yes, it was always just me.
Okay, and like everything, like illustrating, writing the story, all that.
The novels and the films. I mean, the whole idea and the putting together of it was just me, because I've learned that when you partner with someone in a creative project, no matter how much you love them and how much you bring to the table, you have to wait for that person. And I don't like waiting. I'm gung-ho. I just go like, get out of my way whenever I do a project. So I hire people to get what I need done. So in the films, I've hired actors. I've acted myself. I've also been behind the camera, and I've hired people to be behind the camera. I've also, you mentioned Jennifer DeLeo.
Yes.
Yeah, so she's been in one of my films too. I can see she's done pretty good.
Yeah. I have to do my homework. I do my homework. Yeah. I was looking at
great actor.
Internet Movie Database. I was like looking at some of your videos. I was like, oh, okay, so you have worked with some,
also Rainn Wilson before he got big in The Office.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yes, he played a vampire for me. So I'm like, oh, that's cool.
That's pretty cool too. Look at that. See, I missed that one. When I do my homework, I don't do a full study. I just because I want to learn on the fly too. I like that.
That's okay.
That's cool.
Yeah. So and then with the comic book series, I first hired an artist and a colorist. So we were all working together. I was writing, they were drawing, and the other guy was coloring. That was my Andrew Setter and Chad Hammondtree. They were both responsible for the first 5 series. Mm-hmm. And then the 6th, I hired another artist to teach me to actually draw the book. Okay. And my instructor, his name was Andrew Huerta. He basically worked for IDW Publishing, Dynamite, and Boom Studios. So, and he's done variant covers for Marvel and DC as well. So I was like, I had the ultimate instructor.
That's a good teacher to have.
Yeah. And for the inking, I learned from Meltdown Comics over in his name, Jim Higgins was my instructor to teach me Higgins. He came from DC Comics. So it was like, I mean, I had this pedigree behind me. I'm like, I gotta do this. I gotta start learning how to draw on my own if I really want to be an artist. So issue 6, Andrew and I worked together. He worked on the cover. I did the drawing, and he did the inking. So finally, after that, I moved on to just myself, solo, completely. I was nervous as hell, but you know, I just kept practicing every day, and now it's a webcomic. I moved it up to a webcomic because it's a lot more affordable. It's just like printing was just, the cost was just too much, and I just wanted it to be, you know, online as a subscription, kind of like a webcomic subscription, so everybody who wanted to see the work could subscribe. But now I'm into 7. I've done 7, issue 7, 8, and now I'm on issue 9 of my own drawings.
Well, look at that. That's good.
Yeah.
So
took a lot of work.
It did, but you taught yourself with a lot of help. So you got the help to teach you how to draw, or how to do the art yourself. So that way you don't have to really depend on anybody else, but yourself. Which in a creative project, like you said, it is a lot easier if it's just you. Because all you have to really do is really rely on you. Now, if you, of course, when you're just relying on yourself, I mean, your weaknesses, your flaws, they may come out, here and there. But
that's true. But you always have those people who taught you to fall back on, and
and in your situation,
hey, got any suggestions? The other thing too was it took me, I mean, I love the artist who I worked with, but it took an entire year just to get 24 pages done. And I'm like, I was at the point where I'm like, no, I want to do this, and I want to get 100 pages, 150 pages done in a year, which I actually did, 100, more than 100 pages for the issues I started drawing.
And is there a big difference? Because I was looking at some of the interiors. Is there a big difference from? I think I was looking at one of the first books, and I don't think I've looked at the art on the web series. I'm not sure. No, I don't think so.
There is a difference. The first one was more of the artist style was more film noir kind of thing, like the black and white kind of art style, and my style was more kind of Marvel influenced. So it really depended on who the actual influence was, So, and let's see, I'm trying to remember who his influence was. It's just I can't. But it's like whoever taught me, I was going by. I was heavily influenced.
True.
By their work.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, they are teaching you; they're going to leave it an impression.
Right.
See that. And and when you switch from print to digital, I mean, it sounds like you saw a noticeable change with that. I mean, how much, if you care to go into, how much did it cost to do like a print issue?
Wow. It cost me about $1,200 at that time per artist.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah. So that was one of the reasons that I wanted to switch to digital, was because of the cost.
Mm-hmm.
And then to print, it was almost like $3 per issue. So if you're talking, multiple printing for shows like comic book conventions, or even just selling them, in comic book stores, that was a lot of work. That was a lot of money. I mean, you needed like
$3 per issue, and how much were they selling for?
I don't remember. Maybe like I would do a bundle, like $10 for like 5, but at some point I always sold out, and I always got my money back for the boots. So I mean, in a way, it was worth it, but it was a lot of work. With digital, it's just a lot easier for me to upload, and people to subscribe.
Mm-hmm.
It just means more work for me to have to publicize it, keep pushing, like, just
yeah. I totally get that. I get that in a different way. I don't produce comics. I produce books, essentially, anthologies, and the digital versions are so much cheaper, so much easier.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't really cost anything really, except for, because I pay royalties, so then it's like even easier. It's like, okay, well, if it's a total flop, then I guess none of us are making real money on it. But hey, if we push it and pushes, and then keep on making it known, then it's easier. And
right.
With digital, I mean, I take it. I mean, there's probably other comics out there that are digital that you have to compete with.
Right.
Mm.
And it's just much easier for me just to draw ink and then scan and then fix it and upload, and it's just I could keep the story going that way instead of having to worry about, I got to get this printed, I got to get it out there. I mean, you upload it, it's already out there.
And while we're talking, I have some of the artwork, some of the covers scrolling on the screen, and these covers look intense. They look real nice.
Yeah.
My favorite is my favorite has to be the dude with the blonde hair. It looks kind of like Dave Mustaine or something, with like blood coming out of his mouth.
With the glowing eyes, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's who's that guy?
That is Joseph. That is one of the son of one of the characters who was after Gabriel. It's the son of the cop, and he turned pretty much evil, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, he looks intense. I'll be like, man, I want to be on that guy's side.
No. Well, the thing too is in each of the books, I mean, the guardian angels, they use swords, and he's so far the only one who I've started having used guns.
He's like, screw the sword.
He's pretty shitty with a sword.
Oh. I mean, yeah, is there a reason why they have to use swords? Can't they just waste each other with like an AK or something?
They could, but the whole, it's more like only a good angel could kill a bad one. And once that, but if the good angel turns bad, oh well, they can't do it. So it's easier with the sword or with sharp objects because that's what they're used to. It's easier. They don't bite necks. They just slice people open and drink it. You can't quite do that with a gun. The second thing is that, in order to kill an angel, you have to have the blood of a good angel on the weapon. So if you're going to use bullets, you better like line each bullet with blood, which isn't practical.
Okay.
So it's just much easier with a sword. But the only reason I gave him a gun was because he's shitty
You
Can't
could
even lift up a sword.
you could soak the bullets in the blood of the good angels.
Hey, yeah, exactly. And that's at some point that's what he's going to do.
Oh,
So we haven't
that's
gotten
pretty
to that
wicked.
issue yet.
That is pretty intense. Okay.
Yeah.
No, okay, and we're talking about concepts of good and bad. Like what's the line here? Like like how many humans can you kill before you turn bad? Like what's the thing?
It's not so much the killing, it's more of the psychological reasons why they would turn bad. Like, for instance, one of the characters, Joseph, his father, Cameron, accidentally killed his mother because he turned into a vampire. And so he's out for revenge. He was trying to be good, and helping his dad get rid of all the bad vampires. But it's like, oh, now you killed my mom. Now I'm pissed.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's go, kick some ass. And so that's, in a way, he starts, trying to build his following by basically he has to prove that he's, strong, and strong means killing.
Yep. Okay.
So
I can see that.
It's more of a psychological turn that drives them to become evil rather than, and let's just kill people for the fun of it.
Okay. So
yeah,
if they
there's always a reason behind it.
So if they kill for the fun, are they good or are they bad?
Gabriel is killing for fun at first.
Okay.
But his reason was because when he was in the Middle Ages, when he was a little kid, or whenever that back then when they used the children for the armies, the child armies and stuff like that. Yeah, the Crusades. He got killed in that, and he was begging for his angel to come rescue him, and that never happened. So he became an angel. So now his whole thing about killing is revenge. And he particularly targets the clergy, and he toys with them. So for him, it's like, it's fun for him because he gets his revenge that way. But at some point, he's getting, pretty tired of it, and he just wants to be left alone by all the voices. So.
Okay. So
I try to put all those psychological elements behind the story. It's just not random vampire killing.
Gotcha.
It leads up to that.
Gotcha. I was just trying to figure out what I would need to do in your universe if I was a vampire to be the good or bad. See where I need to go.
Well, if you were good, then you would have to stay good. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to kill them.
Ah, okay.
I mean, you can't even deviate from that. And if you were bad, you can turn good, and then you can start, saving the world.
Gotcha. All right.
Which I don't want to save the world yet. I'll keep the series going.
All right. So, what is your first vampire book? I mean, I'm assuming it's a book. I don't know if that was your first experience. Let me just say, what is your first vampire experience?
First vampire experience was the Hammer films.
Okay.
I used to watch those and go, oh my God, this is the scariest thing I've ever seen. It's the bloodiest, scariest, craziest thing. And from then on, I love vampires.
Yeah, I can totally see that. Yeah, I mean, the way those films were shot, the way they handled them, totally different. Totally different.
It was just so campy. It's just so tacky in a way, but it was so good. You see all the fake blood run out, and you're like, oh my God, it's gross, but it's so good.
They were using what they had.
Yeah, but that's what makes it great. That's what makes all those old films great. There's no CGI. There's no, pretense. It's just pure let's scare the shit out of you. So that was the kind of thing that drew me. It's not a vampire book, but the first book I ever read that turned me into all the scary stuff, all the monsters in this was Alien.
Was what?
Alien in the book form. Not
Alien.
Before the movie came out.
Okay.
I remember reading that as a kid and begging my dad to let me go see the movie by myself. I came out of there going, I can do this. I can create these. Or something like this.
You know what? I I have not read that book. I've seen the movie, of course. I haven't read
Right.
the book. I don't know how it would even compare. I mean, that movie is phenomenal. I mean, that movie is a great movie. But
Oh, the book was amazing. I mean, if you're a kid and you're, before those age of movies and CGIs, and I'm reading like, at age 8, 9, 10, I'm reading Amityville Horror, I'm reading, Rich Stephen King,
mhm.
all those books. I mean, you let your imagination go. And when I first read the Stephen King books, I literally could not sleep alone. I was so terrified, and I want that feeling. I love that feeling. Like if I'm writing, it has to come out. I have to have that feeling. You go back to that, and you go, this is it. This is, if it takes you somewhere or it scares the crap out of you, then you've done your job as a writer.
Damn straight. Damn
Yeah.
straight. I mean, I'm just thinking now, like, as a horror writer, and as someone who produces horror mostly, if someone were to tell me, and you mentioned this earlier, man, I don't want to buy your book because it's too intense. That's
That's
that,
that's a compliment to me.
that's
That's like a
better.
big-
Oh yeah, that does more for me than the dollar does.
yeah.
That's a good feeling from that. I'm like, oh, okay, wow, okay.
I've had one person, and only one person, ever write me saying, "Please stop. This is way too disturbing." I'm like, "Yeah, and
It's like,
they're vampires." I mean, everybody understands that. Sure, there's that sacrilegious religious element to it, but then again, you have to remember this is fiction.
yeah,
This is, and if you're offended by it, don't read it.
Damn
It's
straight.
a vampire book.
no one
You know,
is forcing you to read this book or read that book. No one's forcing you to do that.
Exactly. Nobody forced you to take your credit card and subscribe to my comics, although I would love that. But I don't know, you know what I mean. But yeah, it's kind of like my goal would be to mix, keep improving on that Stephen King element of horror, along with the Frank Miller black and white, and Hellboy red look. And those artists I really admire. But that's why I stick to black and white and red. But to keep that kind of going, and it's more like to improve my art and to improve the story as much as I can. It's ever evolving. It's always evolving.
That's good. That's how it should. That's how it should be. What about? Have you read?
Your vampires?
How do you feel about the Anne Rice vampire,
Oh boy.
like the Lestat?
I like them. I like her. I like Lestat. I like those because they're not wimpy. I mean, it's very elegant. And
Louis
I
was
mean, like
annoying.
the Queen of the Damned stuff. I really like that. I mean, I have nothing against her or anything. So it's actually that those are movies I would watch.
Yeah,
She's got some good stories.
I asked because what interview with the vampire was is it interview with the vampire or interview with a vampire? I always mix that up.
Yeah,
I'm not sure which one.
Interview with a Vampire.
Yeah, I think the vampire.
Yeah.
Anyway, of course that was my first. Yeah, I think that was my first real vampire novel, and I was like, oh wow, this is pretty interesting. I think before that, I saw one of the Dracula films, and then
Yeah.
it's just like okay, but getting in that book, the whole concept of one vampire not really feeling like they really want to do it and being like,
Right.
I don't know if I want to do this, Lestat. I just seems so wrong. It's
Yeah.
like, dude, just do it. Like what are you talking about? Like,
Right. And you can't make a scary book or a scary film without that psychological element.
yeah,
Without the whatever inside of you is conflict.
mm-hmm.
It's not like a straight horror movie. Don't get me wrong. I love all the other horror movies where the woman's running from the killer and keeps tripping. That's awesome. It's like straight up kill, Jason stuff. You know, the storyline is just kill, kill, kill. That's it. There really isn't too much of a psychological element to it. But you know, that's what makes always the really good writing is you have to have something that people connect to, and they go, "Yeah, I would be conflicted too."
Yeah,
like,
and I can see that.
If I turn into a vampire, I don't think I could, you know, bite my boyfriend over there and feed on his blood. I probably could, but you know,
it's that psychological. It's that psychological horror that people can relate to in a way. That I think that has more of a. While I guess the bloody kill, kill, kill has that like it's ingrained in your mind, like the imagery.
Right.
But it's a psychological
entertainment versus psychological.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Like even that movie, one of the first movies that influenced me on my books was Seven.
Good movie.
Oh
yeah.
my God, that was amazing. You know, and the Prophecy.
Ooh,
that was another. Oh yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, the dark ones and the whole X-Files series. I was like, this is it.
I grew up on X-Files.
Yeah, or if you see my films on YouTube, they have that X-File look to them. That was a huge, you know, influence on me.
That's cool. I haven't checked out your YouTube channel on YouTube right now. No, not right now. But after this, I definitely will.
Yeah, you'll see Jennifer's in there. She's somewhere in there.
That's good. Well, man, I mean, that's cool. I mean, I'm enjoying that I'm able to explore vampires with you. That's so. What about with Wesley Snipes? What do you think about that Blade?
Oh yeah. Oh my God. I love
that's a badass vampire.
I love the badass ones. You know, and all that. So, oh hell yeah. That's actually kind of like another influence, you know. And also because I used to take martial arts, so I'm trying to get more action moves. I have to draw that, so that's going to take me a while. Got it. You know, probably not a while, but I kind of have to learn how to draw the action poses, the fight scenes, and all that stuff.
What are you training in?
I'm just drawing, just looking at other comic books. And
no! I thought you like the martial arts, like the.
I used to do Kali, like the stick fighting.
Okay.
Arnie, yeah, and Jeet Kune Do.
Okay.
So, yep. And if I ever need advice, I'll just go over to my instructor, my ex-instructor, say, "Hey, how do you do this? That's cool. Not right. You shouldn't be holding it that way."
That's cool. Yeah, you can get some influence from that and how to illustrate certain things. I can totally see that.
Right.
It's a good way to stay fit too.
Yeah, I'm trying to have myself, my character do more fight scenes. So I gotta research how to hold, knives and swords and sticks and all that stuff.
Have you ever thought about doing jiu-jitsu?
No, I mean, I have some health issues I need to get over first, and then I want to get back to it.
Yeah.
Because it's a really, really good workout.
Yeah, I only had the luxury of like a few free sessions. I was doing some film work with a buddy of mine, and then I was like, yeah, you could do free sessions here. It was interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to go to here in back in Gardena, California, the Kali Jeet Kune Do, South Bay Kali Jeet Kune Do by my friend David, and man, they were pretty intense.
Yeah, they can be
working those sticks. You come back with a few bruises, and if you don't come back with bruises, you haven't done it right.
Yeah, I mean that's a sign of a good workout right there. It is.
Yeah.
Now, could I'll say, all right, Wesley Snipes' Blade, like when you saw that movie, like that for me, I don't know, for me that changed my mind. I was like, oh, I didn't see a vampire movie like that before, because I don't think that they existed. They didn't exist. Like that was like, holy hell! You talk about this? Okay, before that, it was like the movie Interview with the Vampire, and then I think there was the Dracula films, and then it was like then all of a sudden you have Blade, It's like, holy
Right.
shit, this guy's kicking ass. The whole beginning scene where the rave, it's like raining blood.
Yeah.
It was like, motherfucker, you are kicking ass. Oh my god, I want to watch the movie now. Talking about it, shit, that's a good movie.
And that's the type of vampire, the type of film, or what's the type of vampire I'm trying to bring back.
Oh, I can see that. I see that from just the cover alone.
Right.
Vampire Guardian Angels, and looking into it a little bit, that's the experience I want. I want to read about some vampires that are kicking ass, like really going to blood towards each other, you know?
Exactly. And it's hard to really describe what it's like. It's like, well, it's a little bit of Blade, it's a little bit of X-Files, it's a little bit of this, and no, there are no sparkles, no, it's not Interview with a Vampire. It's kind of like I'm trying to think of every kick-ass film and B-movie that I combine, because it's a combination of all those. You know, I can't just say, oh, it's like Blade. It's not. It's a combination of a lot of things.
Gotcha.
So.
Okay.
But we'll just say it's like Blade meets X-Files. How about that?
Blade meets X-Files.
Yeah.
All right.
Probably easier.
So Mulder and Scully trying to investigate a vampire case.
Right. And then Scully has to turn into a kick-ass fighter. So. And they're also a combo of Resident Evil, because I'm coming up with these cool new monsters too.
Ooh.
So these vampire monsters. So
Wait,
it's like I said, it's a combination.
There is a cover where this dude has like these they look like hounds, like vampire hounds. Like what are those things?
They are. They're actually humans who were experimented on to become more animal-like. So they're called rabid angels.
Oh.
They're fully on like rabid kind of. They're used as a ground force in one of the characters' armies. So
I can see that.
They're pretty brutal. So that's what I'm trying to. That's why I'm saying it's the whole mix. It's like you have a Resident Evil aspect to it, even though it's not zombies, but you got the monsters. I've got other characters that I'm working on drawing as well that are just kick-ass, scary monsters.
Any that you wanna talk about? Anything new you wanna kind of hint at?
Just that. Just so far, I'm keeping the series going,
okay.
And I'm probably going to end it at 10. And then move on to something else. So, you know, I feel like I want to do a comedy now. I don't know. Just something in between. There's one, I've come up with one that's called Gelatinous Mutant Coconut. I don't know. I'm still developing that.
Gelatinous Mutant Coconut?
Yeah, it's a superhero in a jar.
Oh.
It's a really stupid story, but you know.
well, look, a superhero in a jar.
Yeah,
like
superhero that you need.
Oh, that almost sounds like a marketing campaign of like to get this superhero in a jar, superhero in a bottle, and people would like pop it open, they drink it, and like it's an energy drink. You know, they just feel like all like alive, whatever. Maybe it has some like. Meth.
Yeah, a coworker came up with that too. So I'm like, I think I'm going to run with this. And his sidekick is a chewed up piece of anthropomorphic gum that he can only rely on to get him out of the jar.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, you see where I'm going with this. Anyway. Oh, okay.
No. Well, I was talking about the creatures, like the monster you talk about, like any new forms, like you might want to hint at about them as well, so you just mentioned the rabbit angels, like the crazy looking hellhound beast things.
Right.
Any others that haven't come out yet? Like maybe something you want to hint at? I don't know. It's hard to just talking about it, I guess, but.
Well, I'm not sure yet. I mean, I'm trying to lean away from stuff that people have already done. So
gotcha.
What I'm doing, I'm watching a lot of anime where they have like some pretty disturbing monsters and trying to see, what the influence was, how I can come up with something similar. Some of them are pretty disturbing. They're pretty badass. So I've already come up with 3 that you can see in the comic books online as well. I mean, you'd have to subscribe to see what they look like. But other than that, I am trying to come up with one more, but I want it to be just really scary. I have to dream first. Let me drink more.
Yeah, you gotta keep Jack Daniels on standby, or for you it was like Bacardi. So what do you normally drink?
I don't drink now. Sometimes I'll have wine.
Wine?
It's red wine usually does. Hungarian red wine. Ooh, go to a German market to get that. That stuff is really intense. It'll give you a headache for days, but man, it is pretty strong.
Okay, well, I gotta give that a try.
But yeah, it just hits me, the ideas. I could be in the shower, I could be doing dishes, I could be walking around, I could be, and this is probably why I should explain to my boyfriend why I'm mostly spaced out, is because these ideas are bouncing around my head. I could come up with something at any time, anywhere, which is how I came up with those monsters. I'm just like, one day, nothing even remotely related to it. It just hit. I'm like, oh shit, that's awesome. That sounds cool. And I start like drawing the concept.
There you go. I mean,
it'll just hit. That's how I work.
Hey, you know what? You don't get to pick and choose when the muse strikes. It just comes in and takes over.
Exactly. Oh. Exactly. My brain is constantly going.
And that's the thing of a creative mind. That's part of the problem almost, because you have to constantly find a way to write it down or remember it or to go back to it.
Right. And so I always quick notepad on my phone. I mean, it's a hit and miss. I mean, one time it'll be like, that's an awesome idea. Later, 2 days later, I'm like, I can't go anywhere with this.
So you mentioned anime. Now, I know there's a few vampire animes I've seen before. I'm trying to think of their titles. And you might bring this up. But do you have one in mind? Do you have one to
do? My boyfriend introduced me to this anime called Rosario plus Vampire. It is amazing. It is the funniest, but also it's really cool. It's a really cool anime. The other one is not a vampire one, but it's a zombie one. It's called High School of the Dead.
Oh,
absolutely love.
Yeah, that one I've seen. That one's pretty fun too.
But see Rosario plus Vampire. That's really cool.
I got to check that one out too.
Yeah.
High School of the Dead I checked it out. Of course, it also had it's good. It's a good show, but of course it has a lot of fan service too. Anime usually does. Yep. So it's like, oh, okay, a lot of eye candy and a lot of intense action. I will take this.
Exactly.
Yep. There was, what is that name? I can't look it up right now. I want to say, not Hell. Damn it! It was a vampire anime. It was really popular. The dude had a red coat, long red coat. Oh my god! What is the name of that show? If you're listening, made it this far.
Hunter, Bloodlust, no.
Was that it? Vampire Hunter? That seems maybe. So. There was a cop that was like. It was all like a British cop that was, and she was a chick, and
God, I have.
And his name was Alucard, right? Yeah.
What's the name of this? Oh, I have the print right here. I totally like.
The guy was. He could transform in ways. He could stretch out his arms and like he had these badass guns.
Oh man, it's not Vampire Knight. It's not Vampire Hunter D. Oh, he's got blonde hair, right?
I think he does. He almost looks like Vash the Stampede from Trigun.
But it's Ultimate? No, that's not it. I haven't seen that yet, but you know.
Okay.
I haven't
Wow,
seen that
this
anime
is
yet,
so
but I'm
horrible.
going to look it up.
I should have had a list. I wasn't expecting anime to come. I should have had a list. I'm just
Okay.
someone is gonna comment or say something about it. Be like, okay, this is what you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah. Let's hope the comments come up. But
That'd be nice.
that's the next thing I'm going to be doing is anime.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I'm moving to anime. I'm practicing drawing that right now. So
That's cool.
that's the ultimate goal.
So how far you are in that process? Because that must be pretty intense.
I've already drawn a couple. It's a totally, completely different style than Marvel. So at this point, I just have to train my brain to switch styles.
Mm.
So once I'm done with the 10th issue, then I can move on to other. Which is why I wanted to do the funny one, because I wanted to do the anime with it and then see how I could develop it. It's more like a practice run.
Okay, that might work. I mean, there's different styles of. From what I don't know what the names are. I'm not that knowledgeable on anime, but there's more of the like cutesy like styles like.
And it's not going to be the cutesy style. That's why I'm trying to find my style.
I'm just thinking of the jar and the bubble gum. I don't know what's going on with it. I got to check it out though, because I can see it. Are you saying the character is the jar and the bubble gum?
No, have you ever been to an Asian market and you see all those bottles of like boba and little stuff like coconut?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a plain jar of coconut.
Oh.
He just morphs into something.
Oh, okay.
I haven't decided yet. So it's kind of like a cross between Aqua Teen Hunger Force and some other and Pinky and the Brain.
I gotta check this one out.
Yeah, I'm moving from one genre to a completely different style, but done with anime.
From the creative mind behind Vampire Guardian Angels.
Gelatinous mutant coconut, yay! But it will be a superhero style. Oh, Vash the Stampede. There we go. That's the vampire one.
Well, that's the character.
Vash Stampede.
Vash isn't. Vash the Stampede. It doesn't really have anything to do with vampires, but
it isn't. Oh, okay. Never mind.
But the character that I'm thinking of, Hellsing. That's the name. Hellsing is the name of it. That's
perfect.
Okay.
But I want to see this other one too. Because you never know. If you watch all different genres, you'll get ideas.
But yeah, Vash, Trigun, dude, man, that's one of my favorite shows growing up. Ooh, that was good. Okay. Now, you do other things too. You mentioned earlier. I mean, you don't just write comics. You also do film. You read some novel. How many novels have you written?
I've written a trilogy, one is 3, and 3 more. So a total of maybe 7.
Okay.
They're all.
All right. So you have experience writing, and you also have experience as a filmmaker. What was your what was that experience like as a filmmaker? Well, what was that like?
That was more born of a challenge, because when I initially, the whole background of novel writing was I used to write for an acting class. Mm-hmm. So I wrote scripts, really short scripts, really fast, 5 minutes every week. I had to do enough for 25 people. So I used that style to turn it into the novels. So if you read my novels, they're all done in almost like a script form. Like fast, to the point. And I took those scripts, those scenes, and I go, I could do something with this. I could turn it into film. I'm in an acting class. But I had no idea how to run a camera at all. So the first guy I hired was an idiot. I mean, he said, okay. He came over. It's like, do you have a camera? I go, no. I thought you had the camera. And he goes, well, good luck. This isn't ever going to work for you. I took that as a challenge. You never
just like that?
Stuff like that
so
to me.
You hire a camera guy, but he doesn't have a camera?
Right.
I
think it was like way back. He was like out of college or whatever. I mean, I was going off Craigslist.
That's kind of weird. That's like hiring weird. It's like hiring a carpenter and he expects you to have the tools.
Tools, yeah, which actually happens nowadays, but that's okay.
Yeah, it does. That's like, hold on, motherfucker. You tell me that you don't have a hammer? I thought you're the carpenter here. Well, son of a bitch. Yeah. You're not prepared.
So basically, I took that as a challenge. I'm like, watch this. So I joined the local cable TV station. And, I started learning the camera tricks there and eventually got my own camera. It was a Panasonic DVX 100 back then, the one that took the tapes. It was like 24p, kind of like film quality. Oh, my God, that thing was like $2,000. But then I hired an actual real cinematographer to help me with the film shorts. So we all experimented. Like my friends came on board, this filmmaker came on board, and then I learned how to edit also at the TV station, the cable TV station. So everything I did on the film was all, it's like the comics. If I want to learn how to do something, I will go out and find a way to do it. I'll take the lessons, whatever it takes. So from there, I started doing the films, little film shorts at first, and then they turned into feature films. So I did 2 feature films, kind of like a mishmash of everything, So that's basically how I did it.
That's dedication, though. I mean, and that's a good mindset to have. If you should utilize the tools and the resources that you have available to learn what you need to do to get it done. That's good.
And it's the same thing with the comic books. I wanted to draw, ink, publish, do everything. It was the same thing with the filming. At some point, I became the director, the actor, the cinematographer, the writer, the everything. So it just kind of evolved from there because I am that type of person. I just want to do it myself. But with a little help, too. I mean, it's always a learning process. But I found I like comic books more. I actually like drawing more than I like filming because filming was just... It was fun, but it was also exhausting. Plus it was, problems finding locations, finding this. But I've never had an actor flake on me, thank God, because, I've worked with really good people. So, it's kind of...
I could imagine working with people must be really intense at times, can be draining. And then getting a location, because for anyone who made it this far listening, think about it. So you have a script, you have people, and you're like, okay, where am I supposed to shoot this at? Because you can't just go anywhere and just start shooting. Right. You could try and see how far you get. Exactly. You need a permit, or you need to maybe have access to a place that is cool. Right. That people are cool with you filming there.
It came to a point where, I had an apartment, and my roommate and I decided, well, we have rooms. We can just turn them into locations. Yeah. So, because the shots were so tight. And I turned one into a church, a chapel, another into a funeral home, another into a morgue, and you couldn't tell. You could not tell. All you had to do was run down to Joann's, grab a whole bunch of, backdrops and just borrow whatever props, tables. You had to be super creative. Mm-hmm. So each location was actually, we never left the apartment. Some of it
was cool. That's pretty cool. That, I had a very, very short experience as I don't even want to call it filmmaker or filmmaking, But I shot this series called Zombie Hunter, and it was like as a documentary form. So with that, it was like a straight shot documentary, like like a hunting show. Like I'm following this guy, this cowboy, who claims to be hunting zombies, and so getting a location was like horrible because I couldn't really do just tight shots. It had to be like, well, we're going to follow you and walk around. So the people, luckily, I had access to some land, and that helped. Like so, in your work, like, did you ever have something where you had to maybe go out from a tight shot? Or
we did, but we made sure that we did have a location at that time. Like one of my films called The Guardian was it needed to be in a school. It needed to be in a college setting. So we actually used the cable TV station as the quote-unquote college.
Okay.
We used the interiors, their boardroom. It kind of it worked. So it depends on what you have. There was other locations that were exterior. You kind of had to do guerrilla filming, so we had to do it at night when nobody was around. You know
what reminded me too, like, talk about this filmmaking is I remember coordinating with people and the sort of messages I would send to people. Think about it now. Like, I'm surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if the NSA had like access and screened my messages. Messages like, quote, all right, we're going to be here at this time to shoot at this location. Okay, we're going to be shooting at this location. Okay, are we shooting at the park today? Yes, we're shooting at the park today. Or it's like, holy shit.
Which is why, when I film, I have to take an entire weekend and film that actor's scenes in their entirety. Because I don't want to have to call them back in 2 weeks when something could happen or they may not be available. So, I had to write in such a way that I knew, where that actor was going to be in the scene at any time.
That's true.
So it was just that kind of difficulty that, you kind of have to do with guerrilla filming. I can still do it, but it's kind of like it's not my thing now.
Yeah.
I started off as a filmmaker, but now I really want to be a comic book artist, and that right now is my passion.
I kind of feel that way. I get where you're coming from. For me, it's like the tools I don't really have anymore, and really, to me, like coordinating to that degree, to that level, I'm not interested in that.
Right.
One quick digression real fast. I'll use this part of the show to announce I do this writing contest called the Meat Grinder, and in that contest the stories compete with each other for the reads, the likes, and the comments. That way, in most writing contests, it's the editors that get to pick which story is the best. But in this one, it's all in the reader's hands. It's all so. In this week, there was only 2 stories. The Fear That Never Got Erased by Sravin. I'm gonna butcher your name. Sravini, Singapali. I don't know if that's even right. I'm sorry. And Twisted Souls by Larry Sells.
Right.
Twisted Souls by Larry Sells had 52 reads, 2 likes, no comments. Total, that's like 58 points. Likes are worth 2 points each. The Fear That Never Got Erased, 184 reads, 2 likes, and 19 comments.
Wow.
Yeah. Hopefully I did my math right. That's like 247 points because comments are worth 3 points. So so clearly the Fear That Never Got Erased is the winner. So $20 is going to be going to him.
Oh, nice.
Plus the money he received via donations and all that. So
right.
All right.
Oh,
and
cool.
The other thing is, I mentioned this earlier this week that I was going to mention some comments on a video I had called "Where Do You Write?" I'm going to try to do these videos weekly. Like next week we'll do the I'll release the do you write under the influence, and we already had fun with that one.
I'm paying for that one.
And this one, where do you write? Grimm's Crypt. Grimm's Crypt said, I could typically write anywhere that isn't noisy. Sometimes I need complete silence so I can catch onto every thought and idea before I miss it. The weirdest place I've ever written at was the train. Imagine writing on a train.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The weirdest place I've ever written, and that was for my second novel, the second vampire novel, was in the church, in the middle of the choir, on the missalette, on the book. Well, I took it home.
When inspiration strikes,
had to.
Yeah, you don't want to let it go.
No. I'm the type where I've trained myself I would be able to write anywhere, because eventually my goal is to travel. And the reason I took the webcomic, online, was I want to be able to draw it anywhere in the world, no matter where I am.
That's pretty cool. That's a nice nice goal right there.
Yeah. So.
All right, I have another comment on it by Renee. I write in my garage because there are too many distractions in the house. We have 2 dogs. One is almost a year old and a bit of a jerk, and a couple of cats. Then teenagers who think if they can see me, I must be waiting to indulge their every whim. A delusion I'm pretty sure they inherited from their dad. In order to get anything done, I have to disappear. Also, I could smoke in my garage, so there's that. I got a comfy chair, a heater. This is Canada after all. And a table out there. So it's perfect. Cool. Except for the occasional mouse. See, from just reading that already, you already know that there's a sound that Renee has a bit of kind of sass to her. Kind of like,
yep.
She has personality. I like her. She's cool.
Okay.
And from that, teenagers, man. My kids aren't teenagers yet, but I've worked with many teenagers, and it's like, do you not see that I'm busy? Like, what do you want?
Exactly. Well, I used to have an asshole cat that used to steal all my pens, so.
Steal your pens?
Yeah, my drawing pens. Couldn't find them. They'd be like somewhere else.
Just hoarding them? Like a beaver?
Hoarding, yeah. Yep.
Like building a dam or something? Like, what is she doing?
We're just knocking them off the table. I mean, I'd have everything like all organized, and everything would be like on the floor. Wow.
That's kind of a weird thing. It's like, just a pen, just the way the pen looks. Like, I'm going to take this pen. Yep. Take it.
Pretty much.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, one more. There's one more post. How important is the book title? And Renee also commented on that one. Sometimes it's been more than a minute. The title was just there, and it's perfect. Like Church or Cats Like Cream. Those are 2 books she has out right now. Most of the time, it takes longer to decide on the title than it does to write the story. I'm indecisive like that.
Oh, well, for me, I basically write the title first.
Ooh.
And then I go with the story. If there's no title, it's like, where is this going? So I tend to I've always come up with the title first.
Wow.
It's kind of weird.
Now, does the title ever change? Do you ever change the wording of it?
No, when I decide on it, that's it.
All right.
The only time I had to change a title was when my asshole ex, the one with the cover.
Mm-hmm.
Which one was it? Oh, let me grab my comic books here. It's Rule of Blood, yeah, the one with the blonde hair,
Okay.
guy with glowing eyes. That used to be called Rain of Blood. Okay, not, and he accused me of stealing Slayer, which is Rain in Blood.
Yeah, Raining Blood, but
Yeah,
that's still not stealing. That's a first of all, that's a title of a song, Raining Blood.
Yes.
And you using that on the as a subtitle for your book or for comic is a totally different thing.
Yeah, and he was a hardcore metalhead, but I mean, no offense to any of my metalhead friends.
Well, he needs to look at how patents work
because
or trademarks work.
Horrible time about it, and I'm like, are you serious? Like, yes, I know nobody ever insults Slayer, but I'm not stealing the title. It's a different title. So it had to be Rule of Blood. That's the only time and the only last time I'll ever change a title. So
should have kept it. Raining Blood is a sweet song. You know what? There was some Slayer playing in the background earlier.
Yeah. See, there's a reason I'm divorced from him. It's like, peace out.
Oh, yeah. Trying to be controlling like that.
Yeah.
And let's see. Madeline also said, "I agree. Titles are massively important. I'm awful at them, though. My publisher usually has to come up with them for me. And the only thing I could really say about titles is that, yeah, I kind of shared their thing. I'm terrible when it comes to titles. It's usually like I'll have like an idea of what I want it to be, and then as I'm working on it, this other thing may come up. Like, I'll give you an example of the worst title. One of the worst titles I've ever came up with. I don't know what I was thinking. Like trying to be like artsy fartsy or whatever. Like Demise of a Portrait. It's like
it sounds like a romance novel.
It does. It's like what is that? What is that?
Oh, man.
Like what are you talking about? I'm like, and when I mentioned the title, everyone was laughing. I was like, and I didn't really, because I was serious at it. I was serious with it at first. I was like, oh, wait a second. They're like, well, what does that even mean? I was like, oh, it's like, well, it means this and that, you know. It's like, you know, it's symbolism, you know. It's like, but it's so. They're like, no, man, it's so douchey, it's so pretentious. It's like, oh yeah. I could see that. So back to the drawing board with that one.
Yeah. The first time I started writing novels, each, like the non-vampire ones there were more paranormal ones, but they all had kind of religious titles. Like one was Resurrection, another one was an action one called Body and Blood.
Gotcha.
So, but the one that I came up with that was the most bizarre, but probably the best written book I've ever written was called The Frog Asylum.
The Frog Asylum?
Yes, it was called The Frog Asylum, and it made sense because it was set in 15th century Spain, or Philippines, and it was in the Spanish era where frogs were seen, you know, as if it rains frogs, it's like a prophecy kind of thing. But it was somewhere in there. Like it all kind of tied together. But it was the first romance novel I ever wrote and the last. And the reason is because I ended up just killing the heroine at the end, going, oh, I like this better. Burning at the stake. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, because, you know, after people read it, they're like, oh my God, we expected everybody to live happily ever after. I'm like, nope.
Not happening here.
Gotcha there. Yeah. It was kind of like an Inquisition kind of romance novel, but it was like, and that's where I started saying, no, romance is not for me. Because a lot of people always think that if you're a woman, you have to write either children's books or romance novels. And I'm going, fuck that.
Yeah, you and a handful of women are saying fuck that. In fact, I know plenty of women that are writing horror, and they seem to be doing well for it. I mean, at least they're not I mean, they're still. Well, here's the thing we're going to go to with what I was about to say. Wait for it. I stop myself. So you're working hard on this. You're working real hard on this. And I have to ask the question. I have to ask this question with all my guests. But is it paying the bills? Is this you know, are you making a living? Are you making a living off this?
Not quite yet. I mean, I still have a day job.
Mm-hmm.
I do get a little money from Patreon. You know, it's enough to buy at least groceries. So, I know there's several ways you can make money. I mean, one would be to freelance, but to me that would not. I mean, I'm not at that point yet. Only because I want to finish my comic book. I really don't have time for other, drawing other projects. I mean, at this point, I really can freelance, but that's pretty much the only way to make money. Or if you work for the other comic book companies, like my instructor did, he would teach, comic book drawing. He would also work for, do projects or pages, get paid by other publishers, and he would freelance. And it's kind of like, first, I mean, that is my goal eventually. But first, you gotta get your debts down or fully paid off. I have to be at a point where I can freelance, where I don't have to rely on like such a huge income to pay for everything, And then at that point, you can travel, you can do whatever you want. So, in other words, in order to do that, you'd have to be financially independent in some way.
Yeah.
But at this point, I don't think it's going to replace the day job yet.
Okay, and that's a good mindset to have.
Right.
Yet.
Unless Marvel, DC, hello, I'm here. Okay.
Well, and what about with the subscriptions?
I'm sorry?
Because people can also subscribe to your webcomic as well.
Oh, yeah. Yes, they can. Okay. And it's pretty much, they get, like, not just one issue. They get 2 or 3. And it's constant, I'm constantly drawing, I'm constantly posting updates, and I'm publishing them. So they get to see, the pages as they're done.
That's good. Well, hopefully, some of the listeners may be curious about what's going on, and we'll help maybe subscribe or look into what's going on with Vampire Guardian Angels and the other things you do. So hopefully that'll help out.
Exactly. I mean, you're basically supporting an independent artist, and that's all we can hope for. It's kind of sad because, I mean, I've kind of veered away from the comic book conventions now because they have become, all about the big comics, like the popular stuff, and all the independent, comic books and artists are kind of, I mean, I feel are getting pushed to the side, and that shouldn't be the case. It's kind of like let's try to support more of the talent that's out there and more of the independent artists, because you never know what you could find that, it's not Marvel or DC, but it's a cool comic book. It's a cool story. It's a cool drawing.
We're talking about comics, and I'm just maybe reflecting on some misinformation or whatever, but how is Marvel doing in just their comic books alone? I mean, they're doing great with their movies, but comic book sales, like, because I was under the impression that the comic book sales weren't that great for a number of different reasons, like, some recent changes based on what they want to do with the comics, some maybe like political things in the comics now, kind of injecting some political angles and the actual issues. And
I'm not sure. I mean, I don't follow that. I try to stay away from that. I mean, I have people in the industry who do, pretty well independently. And it's kind of like I just don't want to really focus on now, on the politics and stuff like
Oh
that.
yeah. Oh
But
no,
I
no.
do see signs.
Mm.
Like, I mean, I don't know if it's related or not with sales, but my favorite comic book store where I learned to draw, Meltdown Comics, is closed. It's closing. It's been there for over 25 years. And it's got a lot of, every comic book that you could possibly think of. It's all Marvel, DC, and independents. So, to see signs like that is, I'm just wondering, where the actual, what the comic books have a place. I mean, even at the conventions, you go in and you hardly see any independents. You probably do, but, everything's getting more expensive. The booths are getting more expensive. I mean, where do you go, besides online? It's almost like it's not about comics anymore. It used to be. And now it's kind of moving towards the more popular items and even TV shows. I don't see a lot of old, comic books, but I do see a lot of Walking Dead art actors around,
Yeah.
The line, you know what I mean? So
Which is
I'm not sure where the future is going to be.
Yeah, that's a good. I don't know either because, and I see that writing as well. And this podcast is from Houston, really a suburb of Houston. And if I was to buy a comic, I don't know where I would go. It'd probably be Barnes and Noble or something.
Or Amazon or somewhere
I would
else.
have to go to Amazon.
I mean, it's even hard for me to find a comic book store. We're driving around going, oh, where's one? Oh, there's one. There's a small one there. There's a small one here. But it's like they don't really exist anymore. I mean, a few do. And if you're going to even Barnes and Nobles are closing, it's really hard to find the brick and mortar ones unless you just really go online.
I mean,
the only way, yeah. So the only way I had my comic books out were at the conventions. But now I just have to PayPal me, I'll send you a signed copy. There's no really physical place to put them.
All right. I was thinking too, so when one particular comic series gets very successful, gets so successful to where it is dominating, it is what you see, it is it's in TV, it's in film, it's everywhere.
Right.
Does that overshadow? Does that like all the other smaller ones that you're just caught in its shadow? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, The Walking Dead started out as a comic book. Look how big it became, but look how long it took.
Yeah.
And it becomes oversaturated, and then it kind of pushes the other zombie independents out.
Yeah.
That would have been really fantastic reads. It's like I noticed that whenever I go to conventions when I used to exhibit there. I mean, I love Stan Lee's Kamikaze. That's where I exhibited first, and I was there for 4 years, and that was fantastic. It was a really great show. And I love all the fans who I've met there. But it's almost like everybody who's ever come up to the booth, their first question is, have I seen this before? Have I heard of this before? Is this on TV? Is it, it's kind of like, no, I'm independent. I don't think you've ever heard of me before, but I hope you like what I write. And it's always even in conversations when I say, yeah, I'm a comic book artist. Oh, anything I've heard of? Do you draw Marvel? Do you see any comic book I've heard of? I don't know. It's my own. And then all of a sudden they lose interest. And it's really? it's kind of, it's a catch. It's, you want to do, you want to innovate, you want to put yourself out there, but everybody starts comparing you to, or expects you to be, famous.
And that's so, I don't.
And I've sold the comic book solely on my passion for it and for people who like vampires. It's like, if you like this vampires, you do like this book, check it out, give it a chance. And if they see that you're really into, you're passionate about your work, they can see, okay, you are a true artist. I'll check it out. I'll go ahead. And, you know, the fans who follow me are fans. They really like the work. You know, it's like, it's just not like, oh yeah, I'm selling this because, you know, whatever, it's, I'm going to be famous someday. No, that's not it. That's not how you do it. You sell it because, or you promote it because it's your work. It's your art. And you want the world to know about it. You just want to share it.
You know, it's almost like when those shows, when those comics get so big where they become like something else, like a show, movie, and all that, they bring in a lot of audience. They bring in a lot of eyes, a lot of pockets, a lot of wallets. But that might not necessarily be interested in the comic itself, or even comics in general. You know, they just like that show, and they come there, they go there, and you probably heard this too. We talk with other people, be like, oh, it's good for the industry because it means it's bringing in more people. But is it really bringing in more people if they're not interested? Ooh.
Exactly. I mean, it's almost like, you know, you have, let's say, okay, I don't see anything original out there anymore. Let's put it this way. I really don't. I mean, and it's almost like it's a rehash of everything.
Yeah.
And you know, where do artists like me who are original, where do we stand? And, you know, how do we get our work out there without being expected to be compared to the big guys? You know, nothing against the big guys, but somehow you're still competing. You're still trying to make a name for yourself. And you're
exactly.
On the art.
Am I gonna find a Captain America in your Vampire Guardian Angels? Am I?
Nope.
You know,
it's not. And don't get me wrong. I mean, I love Batman. I love all the superheroes, all that, and I like going to. But what I don't like is going to these big conventions, seeing just that. It's, you know, one booth has this, you know, all the Batman stuff. The next booth has the same thing. The next booth has the same thing, and you're going, where are all the independents? You know, where's the new stuff? Where are the independent artists putting out their own work?
They're gonna have to. I mean, in that case, they're gonna have to make money in other ways. Yeah.
And I mean, I love the cosplayers. Don't get me wrong. I really love seeing them. I probably will dress up as one day. But it's more like I want to see some other variety. You know, and it's more like the general public has become so used to just anything that's a trend or that's pop culture or this or that, and you know, everything else just gets shoved to the side.
Yeah,
it's not famous, it's not popular, and at that point you're missing out. You're missing out a lot of good artists out there.
That's true. Well, you know, and Lia Scott Price, we have been on this for a while, and I enjoy this conversation. No. I hate to end it so, because I could spend a few more hours talking about this. We're talking about some big things here.
Right.
Wow. See, could always invite you again. You know, to cover. See, I totally left a section out. Your novels, writing, and mostly what the show talks about is horror and writing, and sometimes comics, sometimes film.
Right.
So I was like, I'll leave the writing part out for a little bit, maybe for a part 2 later on. See,
because I used to do arts on creative writing, so you know, anytime you need it, let me know.
All right, that sounds good. See, I plan a little bit. I might have like this. I'm always drunk and being crazy sort of facade, but that's okay. It's okay.
Right. That's okay.
It works. All right. Well, I will say for everyone who's been listening, you've made it this far. You definitely need to subscribe, press the like button. Definitely check out Lia Scott Price's Vampire Guardian Angels. Okay. Check that out.
And support us on Patreon.
Definitely. Because that goes a long way. It really does.
Yes, it does. And thank you so much for having me on. It was great talking to you.
Hey, it is no problem. All right, ladies and gentlemen, y'all take it easy.
All right.